You know what's interesting? All this chaos is happening around the world and in the United States with banking. And did you see the 1 month Treasury? I was talking about this with Nobody Special the other day. See a lot of charts that kind of look like they're the same for years and years, and then you see a spike up and to the right. If you look at the 1 month Treasury, and not knowing anything about finance, you can go, huh, that's an aberration. And you see a lot of those these days. Down and to the right with these bank stocks, up and to the right with treasuries and volatility. But under all that, we have this little thing called the debt ceiling. Okay. And the debt ceiling is kind of a big deal because if all of a sudden you don't have any more debt to take on and you have a lot of debt in your life, what happens is you don't pay your debts and your credit score goes down. So if you need to take out new debts in the future, which the United States has to do in perpetuity because we spend 1.5 to $2 trillion more than we take in taxes. So we need debt. We have to have it. We have to have people buy it, right? It's not like we're like, okay, we can't pay it anymore, but we'll just live off what we take in tax receipts. We haven't done that for years. Okay, so just to keep status quo, we need debt. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the military, we need other people to pay for that. Keep that in mind. So if we default, meaning we don't raise the debt ceiling, which, I kind of lose track of time. I don't know if you guys do this with months, but I'm like, okay, June 1st is the deadline. I was like, oh yeah, it's May. It's May. This is less than a month away. And they're playing politics over the debt ceiling, which, by the way, if they don't raise the debt ceiling, that is actually way worse than inflation. Because what that will do is cause borrowers to go, there's a real chance they're going to default on this. There's a real chance they won't pay me. So, what do you think people who lend money to the government will want for compensation to take that risk? Interest rates going up. They would want more, just like you, if you didn't pay on your debts. You know what banks are going to want? It's going to lower your credit score. They're going to want a higher rate of return if you have a poor credit score. So if the United States credit score is lowered, people who lend money to us are going to want a higher rate of return to compensate for that said risk. Big problems, okay? And it's just like all this unprecedented stuff, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't put it past these politicians on both sides of the aisle to be such a stick in the mud that they don't get it raised in time. That's a big problem. So let's take a look at this article here from CNBC, and it says Biden says say goodbye to job growth and low unemployment if the debt ceiling isn't lifted. Yeah, among a million other things, that's the least of our concerns, in my opinion. Job growth, which is made up as it is. Okay, and he talks about all the politics and blah, 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 blah. It says lifting the debt ceiling is necessary for the government to cover its existing commitments already approved by Congress and the president. That is true. Okay, imagine you're a Social Security beneficiary. No check. Medicare, Medicaid, no check. No services. People have become so dependent on these things that becomes a big problem. More importantly, the treasury market, because sure, it's going to jack with the treasury market, but what it really does, the biggest expenditure is going to be the interest, because the interest rate on our debt that we need to perpetually take on is going to go higher because people will demand it because we defaulted once. Does that make sense? So, so yeah, they're playing politics. The Republicans, you guys know the story. The Republicans want them to cut spending, understandably so. And they're saying, we're not going to budge on this until we're not going to raise that debt ceiling until you tell us you're going to stop spending more money, which more power to them. But if they both sides don't want to budge and they play politics up until the end, this can be a real big problem if they do not extend the debt ceiling. All right, so this doesn't authorize new spending. Spending that's already allocated, which should tell you right there. We have to take on debt to spend money that's already allocated? Yeah. to the tune of like $2 trillion. And that's going up. The White House has said that it's open to discuss spending cuts, but it will not negotiate with Republicans on the debt ceiling and over the debt ceiling. So they're not going to talk about what we're spending until the Republicans raise the debt ceiling. Like, they're not going to let the Republicans use that as a bargaining chip. And the Republicans are like, oh, really? Oh, really? So they're playing chicken. Who's going to swerve first? That's a real big problem when the deadline is June 1st, according to Janet Yellen, and money is leaving the TGA, the Treasury General account, faster than she would want, faster than she estimated. So that deadline could actually be mid-May or in the month of May. See what I'm saying? Like, run out of money to pay bills, which is what the Treasury does. So they're running out of money fast. And you have these politicians, maybe they think in their mind, well, we got till June 1st, okay. And what happens if that date is moved up? You know what isn't synonymous with politics and bureaucracy? Speed and efficiency, right? Okay. Biden said these are two separate issues, yada, yada, yada. Politics, politics, politics. Biden will meet with the 4 top congressional party leaders at the White House next week and try to reach a deal, okay? Kevin McCarthy, yada, yada, yada. So next week will be a pretty big sign if there's no deal reached. That's a big gorilla, big effing deal, if you will. Next week, I'm going to reiterate congressional leaders that they should do what every other Congress has done, that is, pass the debt limit, avoid default, Biden said. I've said all along we can debate where to cut, how much to spend, how to finally over the tax system, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they write this wrong or if this is actually what Biden is saying and they're just copying it down, but it makes no sense. Anyways, all this to say, I cannot understate what a huge deal it would be if the United States defaulted on its debt. Default for one day, right? Sorry, my bad. Okay, and then they pass the debt ceiling limit. A thing that no one in the market thinks is even possible of happening, right? Some people, I guess, do because there's these credit default swaps on the United States debt, but majority of people in the market don't think that's ever a possibility. They'll always print. But what if politics gets in the middle and there's a delay? I do think they're going to raise the debt ceiling. But what if in that process, politics gets us in the way and the bureaucracy is talking and they're always trying to one-up each other, and in that time, the debt ceiling is not lifted and we reach the cap of spending. Again, speed and politics, not synonymous. So it'll be interesting to see if they meet next week and they have a resolution. Okay, you can expect that they're going to raise the debt ceiling, yada, yada. But if nothing is reached after they meet up, it's a big problem. And they're both sides are talking like we're not budgeting. We'll see. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. See you on the next one. Peace.